Great workshops don't fail because the content is bad. They fail because the content and the delivery were never designed to work together. Now, on today's show, we're going to explore what happens when curriculum development and presentation skills finally stop living in separate silos. And we've got someone who's lived on both sides of that divide, designing material and standing in front of the room delivering it. You ready? Let's go. Today's guest, Amanda Traeger, earned her master's in instructional design while working full time, was named Education and Training Manager of the Year. That award was probably due to her scaling her staff development program capacity by over 100%. I know she'll be able to do a better job of introducing herself than I will. So, Amanda, I'm going to let you take it from here. Welcome to the show and tell us about your journey a little bit.
Hi, and thank you for having me. So my story is actually an unconventional one. I fell into training as a veterinary technician. I wasn't planning on developing or designing anything, but I noticed that there was a gap between what we were teaching our people and then what we were expecting them to execute on the floor. And it wasn't the skills of the technicians that were the issue. It was actually the system that designed to teach them. So that experience really shaped my philosophy. Data tells you what to teach, but it won't actually tell you how. I use data to ensure we're solving the right problems, but I design and deliver, or even sometimes strategically source, training around connection because a spreadsheet can't teach empathy, and it certainly can't inspire excellence.
Well, you
And
got
then when
that.
you truly, yeah.
No, I said you nailed that. Keep going. I couldn't disagree on that.
So when you truly align design and delivery, the results actually follow. So as you mentioned, we scaled our program by 100%, which is huge, especially in the government realm. And we actually achieved a 70% voluntary participation rate, which is more than double the government average. So it's pretty big. When curriculum design and human-centered delivery stop competing and actually start working together, you don't just build courses, you get to build legacies.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Wow.
So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, good to have you here. The good news for you is I'm one of the rare people who actually has been on both sides of it too. Not that long on the development side. Wasn't really, I didn't like it as much, but certainly on the delivery side. From your experience wearing both those hats, what do you think the repercussions are when content is designed on one side, but without delivery in mind?
So I have actually seen firsthand what can happen when that content is designed, but the delivery does not execute it or is not fitted for it. You can have a rushed timeline. So you think you have a 2 hour block of instruction, but in reality, you're not putting the room in for discussion. You're not putting the room in for the thrown off questions, the human part of teaching. And we tend to overdraft on our time, or you see the facilitator having to like hurry up and get to the point, and they're missing all the activities within the part of the training that
Yeah.
really helps make it
Yeah.
retain.
At Xerox, and this isn't uncommon, um, before I became a trainer, I was a sales rep. And it's famous that sales and service don't like talking to each other, tip in most organizations, when in fact, they really, each one has something that the other needs. You'd be shocked at what a client will tell the service rep that they won't tell the sales rep. So we really want to be on the same page. And that's the same. I agree with you. That's the same in terms of curriculum development. They're wonderful writers and they really know things that trainers don't know, but they don't know the delivery side. So each one sort of needs a little bit of assistance from the other. And but when we've got them both on the same page and they realize they're pulling on the same rope, we really have an opportunity to make a much better program. When you're designing curriculum, what delivery questions do you think should be asked before an exercise is created? So you're on the design side. Uh, what are you looking for in delivery? And then I'll swap with you. I'll try and figure out what I'm looking for. But you go first. I trust you more than I trust me right now.
I don't know if you should or not, but I appreciate the confidence. With the design side, I'm always focusing on trying to match the objectives because the objectives are the foundation of any training. What is it that we want them to walk away with? What is it we want them to do at the end of this? When I'm not matching that up with the delivery side, it's hard to get the people side of it. So it's easy to see, okay, they're going to develop an X, Y, and Z document. But how am I, as the trainer, going to get them to develop that? Because I'm not going to be up there reading my lesson plan, expecting them to want to follow along and engage with me. It's
Yeah.
amazing how many death by PowerPoint we still have to this day, too.
Yeah, I've always wanted to write a book called, people have heard this too many times from me, I really should write it, called it Look Good on Paper, because there's so many things that really look good on paper until the trainer or whoever is working with it takes it in front of an audience and go, yeah, that didn't work at all. I told you I'd swap with you. So while you were speaking, I was listening to your answer and thinking, how would I answer it? And for me, the one thing I think that the design side doesn't understand from a trainer side is timing. We are timing nuts. So again, what looks good on paper, we're going to do this is our objective. We're going to do these four things. Looks good till we get in front of an audience and they're asking questions, I hope, and we're asking questions, I hope, and together we're having a conversation and there's some facilitation and all of a sudden we as trainers have a very rich program going, but from the design side we might be going a little bit long right now because I don't know if they always factor it in. So for me, it's a timing issue. From the trainer side, do you see that happen to you as well?
I can definitely agree with that. I do that to myself all the time when I design my own curriculum and then I'm going out in front of people and I'm like, oh, maybe that was a little too long. Or even, for example, I had a course that just ran on Thursday that I got to design, implement, and now execute. And I put it in an 8 hour block thinking it would be the full day. And I actually got it all done in 6 hours, which was great because that gave them 2 hours to perform their capstone and everything like that. But what would someone do that wasn't prepared for all that extra time, you know?
Yeah.
So it can be stressful.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said when I'm doing it, I make that mistake because I have to tell you something, Amanda. I do the same thing. Now I don't have a big curriculum department with me. I'm a lone wolf for 33 years out there delivering seminars, workshops, keynotes. So I write most of the things myself. And just like you said, I almost always look at it and go, that's 2 pages for an hour. I'm going to talk. And the answer is no. You're going to need an hour and a half for what you just put down there. I would say that if we took the top 10 mistakes that trainers or developers, let's put us all in the same basket together, top 10 mistakes made, nine of them wouldn't equal number one, which is too much information. And again, see, it looks good on paper, right, Amanda? But
Yeah.
try delivering it and you go, oh, that one sentence took 20 minutes when we allowed for what we hope are, going on a give and a take. So it's really common to make that mistake.
It is. And then even as far as the developer side, I don't know if you've heard of it, but the cognitive overload, if you're trying to give them too much information and then you're not retaining any of that information as a learner because you're just so overwhelmed with everything being offered to you. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. I've always thought, and again, this now when you become an entrepreneur and you're out on your own and you're surviving on the success or hopefully not the failure of your programs, I've always told my clients, and I just spoke to a client about an hour ago who's looking at potentially using me for some work. And I said, my report card really isn't the feedback form when I finish the training. I'm quite sure you'll love what people are writing. My report card should be what's this company doing in 6 months? How much was implemented? What kind of changes did we create? And so, again, if we've got a program that's timed well, written well, delivered well, With that in mind, we have a chance, but it's tough. What do you think? So let's go with curriculum developers first, and then we'll do trainers. Okay. So common mistake, and we'll say for both sides will probably be a little too much correct, too much information right out of the gate until we run it up the flagpole a couple times. What do you think is maybe one other common mistake from the development side? And then we'll grab a common mistake from the training side. What do you think on the development?
I think on the development side, one common mistake is not talking to your SME or your trainer.
Mm,
If you know who you're designing for, take the opportunity to say, hey, what are some things that you want to include that's really, really important? Pick their brain, find out their little mannerisms, or as one of my boss used to say, Amanda-isms, and make it to fit them so that when they're up there teaching, it's not a deer in headlights type of thing.
yeah, well said. And again, it's why we're not enemies. We're on the same side. But when you work for a big organization like a Xerox, the departments are so big that they seem to almost want to be competing against each other. And I keep thinking it really we're on the same we really the same company. We're on the same team here. All right, let's flip it. So trainers, what do you think trainers misunderstand or underestimate about the work that goes into curriculum design?
I think they underestimate the procedures that we actually follow, how structured it actually is. So a lot of the activities and engaging mannerisms that we have in our POIs or in our lesson plans, it's really to attract the adult learner, right? We're trying to work those principles in. But when you have a trainer that comes up to me and says, "Hey, can we just run slides together, put slides together and just do something that way without all this structure?" And I'm like, "Well, you can, but I don't know how much the learner is going to retain if you're just standing up there talking to them the entire time."
Yeah,
It's just,
I think you're right. And even something as simple as from a curriculum design standpoint, objectives. A
mm,
trainer won't necessarily write out objectives to what they're doing. That's not an instinct for a speaker to make, but it's a really important design feature because what they don't realize is we know that you're real good on stage and the crowds love you. But the crowds don't necessarily know what the big picture of what it is you're teaching is, or they don't really know what you expect of them when they're done. And what I'm circling right now, Amanda, is
mm,
really an unclear objective would create that kind of issue. So I'm with you. I wish they'd understand that we got the fact that you can wow a room, but can you teach a room? See, sometimes I'll do a dinner talk or something like that for an hour. I'm not teaching a thing. I'm supposed to be entertaining. Can't you
yeah,
tell? But when we're training people, there is a mix of entertainment and inspiration and motivation. But by golly, there's that information side. That's really why we're there. So yeah, I love that answer of yours of if we think we could do it on our own, those little pieces that we might find a little bit prickly to deliver are really valuable to the success of the program and what people are going to end up learning.
exactly. I once even, so the same facilitator or trainer that asked that question of me, I told her it's kind of like offering a half-baked pie. You're not going to want to eat that. I'm like, I can make it for you. I can put the ingredients together, but if I don't bake it, mm-mm.
Yeah,
And that kind of got the point across. So she was like,
yeah.
okay, let's go ahead and structure this.
All right, we're rewriting the world of training, you and I. This is exciting. So
It's
now I hope anybody listening, and remember, Amanda's a trainer. Rob's a friend of the trainers. I'm telling you, we just our instincts off on this one, folks. So now we know we really do need to get involved a little bit earlier, and we got to see them as our partners, not somebody that's slowing us down. How early do you think trainers should be involved in the curriculum development process?
Oh, right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. If it would have been my way, the developer and the trainer are sitting together at the table and they are discussing what they want the behavioral outcome to be, for the overall training, and then developing each little tiny objective that goes into that behavior. And how are we going to test this behavior at the end? just this whole project where they're together hand in hand, developing it side by side. That way, there's no confusion of who's doing what and what is it that you're expecting me to teach, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And you know what else we get out of that, Amanda? By the way, I really love your answers. I don't always say that. I'll say interesting or huh. I'll think about that one. So I'm not dancing around your answers. I love that, but I love it for a slightly different reason. I think it pays respect. I think it pays respect to the trainers. First of all, as you just said, Rob, we'll end up with a better product. Agreed. But we're also paying respect. I think, I'm looking at it from the trainer side now, and I think sometimes we get brought in a little bit late. The train is halfway down the track, and it feels like somebody is just, these are the companies I've worked with. I don't want to say everybody, but I've often felt like I think you're just trying to placate us so you could say, we had the trainer's involvement. No, if you want our involvement, and we may be a little bit of a pain in the neck, and we might slow you down a little bit because we like to tell stories. But if you really want our mind share, get us in there early. It's respectful, I think, to the training side.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. I've been the trainer on that other side as well and had someone developing for me, and that's exactly how it felt, where they didn't take my input seriously. So we need to be involved.
Yeah,
It's a team process. It is a team process.
yeah. There's a little politics in here. Let's admit it. Okay, but at the end of the day, we're trying to create an amazing program for the company or corporation we're working for or organization, and this is how we're going to be able to do it. Okay, if you could give curriculum developers one rule of thumb uh, about when they're designing that would really help the real world delivery side of this. Because sometimes I'm sure you've looked at curriculum where you rolled your eyes a little bit and went, you deliver this. Um, so let's teach the curriculum developers a lesson or two right now. Maybe one rule of thumb. If you're going to design it with us in mind, what would you want them to do? And I'll see if I can swap them with you. I like to listen to you, then you give me ideas. So you go first.
Of course. I would actually say design for the person, human-centered approach. I know that that's how we're supposed to be training and teaching, but on paper, like you said earlier, it looks a lot different than when you're passing it off in person. So say it out loud. Ask yourself, is this how I would learn in an environment? Is this how my husband, my daughter, my father-in-law would learn from this thing? Because we don't all learn the same. We don't all retain information the same way. We also all don't deliver the same way. So you have to remember you're dealing with multiple people and different learning capabilities.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. I'm going to swap back at you. Hmm. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to defend him for a second. I'm going to say, hey, relax a little bit on. Sometimes we feel like this is kind of dry. It's dry material. The developers aren't there to make the material exciting. That'll be our job, okay? Our pitch, our pace, our pause. I would say simple. Keep it simple. Remember that the curriculum developer is practically a subject matter expert on the content. We are ramping up quickly as subject matter experts on the content, but that audience is hearing it for the first time. And
Mhm.
so let's keep it as simple as we can.
I would agree with that as well. I
Yeah.
would 100% agree with that as well.
All
Because it's
right.
so easy to overcomplicate something.
It is. Well, you know what? Because if you're sitting there and you're grinding and you're studying it, you're working at it, and you're building slides for it or whatever you do, after a while, it looks easy. I always tell people, you remember the first day if you went to a big university thinking you would never find your way around this campus? Remember what the third month looked like? How was I ever not knowing my way around this very easy campus? But that audience is coming in and it's their first day of school. So we want to make sure we're in touch with that empathy. Uh,
Yes, 100%.
all right. How about for an organization and listening right now? What's the first practical step that you could give them? And we've danced around this, so we may have this one, but let's see what I always like to leave people with something. So,
Okay.
so somebody listening right now, if you're a curriculum developer, Boy, I feel like we're a little bit rock and roll, a little bit country here. If you're a curriculum developer, one practical step they're going to walk away with after listening to this conversation, what would it be?
I'm going to steal your answer from earlier and say keep it simple. Um, Remember, you're writing for a person, and just simplicity is always best. You can overcomplicate things very, very quickly.
And you know what? I told you now I'm going to give you I can't do anything but say simple. We're begging you. We're begging you. Keep it simple. Okay. Let's flip it. Let's go to the other side. From a delivery side, if we're and we're going to get the ear of those developers. What do we want to tell them? All right, we want them to keep it simple, but what else can we put in there? Here, I'll go first on this one, okay?
Okay.
Because the question's a little screwy, and so let me tell you what I'm thinking about. I want to whisper to those developers, really pay attention to as many activities as possible where we're not the trainers, aren't talking. Okay. Give us some really good open ended questions, or we'll write them. Give us some case study questions, some comparison questions, some creativity. Give us, populate it with a small group activity, or a case study. In other words, give us as many things that we can do that are creative other than us lecturing from that stage or from the pit, as we call it, in the training room. So I took a good one.
That
But
was good.
I see Amanda like, you're allowed to say I agree,
Absolutely.
but that's what I want. I want to just say, please, from our standpoint, not some, again, it's that content, right? Give us more to do and less words.
I'm gonna agree. I am gonna agree. And I was actually making that face because I'm like, I should have thought of that. But both are gonna say, and I had my first squirrel moment of the day. Look at that.
Well, it's
Um,
not your fault, as you said. It wasn't it a coincidence that Rob, the only one, said, "I'll go first," because because I really think it's that one, that one, that one. We're almost at the fourth one now. That it's so important for both sides, by the way, that we ease up on the content. This has been a theme of our conversation, and let's look at this as a pie. Let's do a really good job of maybe a smaller piece of the pie as opposed to getting the whole pie out there. So I think that's been a theme. I'm stalling for you, by the way.
oh,
You got,
sorry.
yeah, well,
I was
and
like,
then
no, I
there I
like what
was
you
in
were
the
doing with
Congo.
me.
So you
Um,
got another one you want to slide in there?
I do. I do.
There you
I
go.
like to keep it simple for the developers. Get your
Uh,
trainers involved from the jump, from the very beginning and get their input. But also, like you said, allow more opportunity for the trainers to ask the audience or their participants questions and get them involved because there is more learning from other students than they're going to be learning from me. That is something I picked up on. And if I can push it onto them, let's push it onto them and just guide the room. Because like I'm sure you know, the facilitator is the guide on the side, not the sage on the stage. So I don't want to be briefing or lecturing and speaking the entire time.
yeah, yeah. Nice quote, by the way. Wasn't lost on me. Here's a quote back at you. I don't know if I made this one up, but I'm always going in there. The more that audience talks, the more they're going to enjoy the person they're talking to. And I learned that as a salesman. Why would that not be different in a presentation? The more the client talks, the more they trust and enjoy the person they're talking to. It's instinct versus logic, really. That's a very logical statement that I made, but it's not an instinctive statement, particularly if we have a curriculum developer that may never have been on stage. So they're working on different pieces, and so that one can get missed. So between the but as I said, I'm not throwing this on the curriculum developers. The trainers, including me, can be a little bit talk heavy. So we just got to keep an eye on that. All right. Well, this has been delightful. How do people get a hold of you, Amanda Traeger?
So if you actually want to reach me, you can try LinkedIn. I can be reached at by Amanda. I don't know if you know how to spell it, but it's very common. Amanda. And then Traeger. So that's Traeger, like the grills, but no relation that we know of.
I know we were talking about that before we went live, and we're trying to. I said we got to figure that one out because maybe we can get a discount on one of those grills. But okay, well that's wonderful, and I will tell you, she pays attention to LinkedIn because that's how Amanda and I met. I reached out a month or two ago, and because I saw a trainer, and I like talking to trainers. That's how I got my start, and I'll always be a trainer at heart. It's been terrific getting to know you and really enjoyed the conversation. Particularly, I had you going first most of the time, so it was easy. I was just picking up the scraps when you were done. But just a lovely conversation. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
You bet. Well, we'll do it again as well as we can next time, everybody. Until then, stay safe.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please follow, rate, and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. For more resources and to connect with Rob, visit thepresentationwhisperer.com.